this example, I'm gonna show you how to integrate Advanced Ladder System to your project. So for an example, I have opened a blank third-person template in UE 5.4.3 and let's get cracking. So first thing I want to do is I want to drag in my project, Advanced Ladder System project, and I want to migrate. So the only folder I want to migrate is from the content, Advanced Ladder System. This is the only one we need. So we're going to migrate. Make sure that this folder is selected, click OK, navigate to your project, in my case it's this one, click on the content and click select folder. And this will now migrate all your files. Alright, now that the migration is complete, we can close this project off. And we have our folder in our project. So just let's take a look at it. So there's a folder called demo in here, and normally when you're done with setting up all your project, this is the folder you can delete because it's not related to anything ladder wise. It's just for the showcase, so the learn map and all the showcase blueprints and all that stuff. So you don't practically need this in your project, and it will make your project a little heavier. Get to it. So first thing we want to do is we want to get to our character, and that's this third person character. And we want to set up some things in here. So first, this character is using a different skeleton from the demo system, so I want to find animations, UE5, and I'm going to select all these animations and montages, and I'm going to click replace skeleton, and for that I'm going to choose our skeleton, which is here in the game character meshes. Basically this is the skeleton we want to retarget to, replace it with. And there we go, now all our animations are set for that skeleton. Okay, so having that set, we're gonna save all. And now I want to find our character in the demo folder because I want to copy some things. So demo UE5 third person blueprints, and this is the character from the ladder system, and he also has something set up. So he's using the older inputs, which we don't need, so we won't need that as much. Let's go back to our character. You know what, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to rename this character to BP new character, our character. Just so we see the difference. So this is our character and this is the demo room character. Alright. So first thing I need is go to the class settings, and we need to add an interface. So if we look for BPI, BPI ladder interface is what we need. So we've added that in here. We're gonna compile and save. And now we wanna transfer some of the interface logic. So we have this logic, and we have these two from the interface. So I'm just gonna copy all these. I'll explain in a second what that does. So copy, and I'm gonna paste them right here. Okay, so something like that. So this is needed for the ladder to function, to know what the player is. Basically we're sending the files to the ladder and telling it this is our character and this is our player controller. So we're just sending ourselves and our player controller to the ladder. through the interface. And these two, essentially what's happening here is when you get on the ladder, this event gets triggered. So as soon as you enter the ladder, this event gets triggered. So if you have a custom logic in your blueprint, because everybody's gonna have a different project, so say you have a weapon in your hand and you enter the ladder and you want that weapon to be hidden. So from here you would write your own code that would hide that weapon of yours, right? Something like that. And same thing when you exit, give me back my weapon, right? Or unhide the weapon. So that's the logic behind all that. I just want to create a variable of this, so I have it right here, and that's good. I also need to add another variable to our character, which is going to be ladder. And I want to change its variable type to BP ladder base object reference. I'm going to change its variable type, and that's going to be our ladder that we're going to use. Okay, so next thing, so we copied this. Next thing I want to do is copy some inputs. So we have some so our jump action is this, so it's just easier for me to copy this, but I'll explain the logic soon. So I'll copy, and this is the jump we have now. So this one is using enhanced inputs. I'm gonna delete this too, and I'm going to paste this logic in here. So on started, we're gonna ask, are you on the ladder? If you are on the ladder, we're gonna test against our ladder, and then if you are, our ladder is gonna do we're gonna do the jump action from the ladder, so which is this one. And if we are not on the ladder, then we're just gonna jump. Same thing with completed, we're just gonna stop jumping. So that's basically the logic. So we're just overriding the inputs if we are on the ladder. Simple as that. So I'm gonna move this here so it doesn't get in the way. So we got that going, and so over here we're using enhanced inputs. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna create some actions. I'm just gonna duplicate this one, and I'm gonna name it use. And I'm gonna duplicate it again, and I'm gonna name it sprint. And in the inputs, defaults, I'm gonna go to mappings, and I'm gonna add it. So this one is the use, and I'm gonna make it an E key. This one is sprint, and I'm gonna make it left shift. So that's done. We can close this. And now I wanna copy these here into our character. So this is basically a use key for the ladder, and also the sprint button for the ladder. So we're gonna do some tweaking here a little bit. So instead of this old one, we're just gonna replace it with EA use, and on started, we're gonna tweak it in here. So what's happening is I'm asking, because you might have different logic for your use and interaction keys, right? So we're also just asking, are we on the ladder when we're pressing use? If we are, then we're gonna do the ladder use action. Same thing for the sprint. So we're gonna go EA sprint. EA sprint So we need to ask same thing, right? So copy, paste. Like that, like that. So if we start, we are asking this ladder, is it on the ladder? Same thing with the completed, is it on the ladder? Something like that. So if it is on the ladder, we're gonna continue to the ladder. Same thing with this, if it's the ladder, we're gonna continue this, replace this. So the logic is, if we're pressing sprint and we are on the ladder, we're gonna do the ladder sprint action. If we are not on the ladder if we're on the ladder when we let go, we're gonna verify against the ladder and press the stop action from the ladder. And if we are not, we're going to get our character movement component. We're gonna set max walk speed. Copy this over, and the sprint should be 500 speed for this character, and walk speed should be 200. So basically we're just setting up sprint for this character right here. So if we are not on the ladder, we want him to sprint. When we let go, we want him to get back to walking. And in our character movement component, we're gonna look for max walk speed, and we're gonna set it this default to be 200. And now we have a sprint button. So use and sprint button. All set up. So compile and save. This thing here is basically to switch the characters on the demo level, so from Manny to Quinn, and we don't really need that. What we do need is this logic, this little bit of logic right here when we're moving. So just copy this thing here, and our character movement is over here, but we're gonna reorganize this a little bit because it's a little bit clamped right here, crowded. So I'm going to move this a little bit down. Let's say I want to use the branch. I want to ask this, are we on the ladder? If we are on the ladder, don't do nothing. If we're not on the ladder, that means we're walking, so we're gonna do here. We're gonna move left and right. I'm gonna split this here, and before that, I'm gonna add a sequence. So first it's gonna go here, and then we're gonna pull this down. And we're gonna paste here what we copied. It's a little bit of a messy situation here, but never mind. And from the second input, we're gonna ask the same thing. Just tidy it up a little bit. So if we are on the ladder, we wanna ask if ladder is valid and then do the ladder input. And we also wanna put this Y input, I believe, right? Yep. So Y input in here. And if we are not on the ladder, we wanna continue walking. So that's essentially the logic with the movement that we need to set up for our characters. You will have something similar. So the point is just use a branch to differentiate, are we on the ladder or not, and this variable here will actually determine are we on the ladder or are we not on the ladder, and then that's gonna branch out to our stuff. So I'm gonna go to mesh now and our character here. So this is set to Quinn, and these animations are made for Manny, so I'm gonna switch to Manny. And I'm also gonna find the Manny animation blueprint and set it as Manny. Compile and save. I will show you later how to set it for Quinn, but for now we're using Manny logic, and that's about it. So we don't need to do anything else. So let me just create some sort of a little bit of a space here. So we can have our ladder. So I'm gonna go to Content, Advanced Ladder System, Blueprints, and I'm gonna drag one of these presets. So these presets are to determine, basically, you can create your own ladder from this. These are just the presets for speed, so but these can be tweaked however you want, right? So from here I would go and I would duplicate one of the presets depending on the speed of your game, and I would call this BP My Ladder, and this now becomes your base ladder. I'm just gonna move it to Content, and from this now you would use this to tweak this and the speed of this to sort of get your ladder and to get it behave the way you want. So I'm just gonna rotate it here, put it 40 up, move it here a bit, and under details I want to make it 8 so that it reaches, so this one aligns perfectly. I'm also gonna copy this over here and I'm gonna make it 5, and I'm gonna get it a little bit up just so you see what happens when it's not aligning perfectly to the ground or to the floor, right? So what happens then? And also we also support the angled ladder, so I'm gonna angle it by 10 degrees, and now we have some 3 scenarios of the ladder itself. We can close off this blueprint, we don't need it anymore. And for this blueprint I want to find our animation blueprint. So for here it's quite important to have a default slot because we're using montages, and this one is using the foot IK. So right now I'm gonna unplug this just so I can show you, so we can get the ladder moving. Then later I will show you how to set it up for this character, but your character will have something different as well, but never mind. So we unplugged it, and before that let me go into our actual ladder blueprint just to show you a couple of things. So the only thing you need to worry about is the player setup here, right? So the use ladder key and the sprint key you can set here how you want, but this is all going to be changed in the future, because you can also do something like this basically, where you can sort of set up your own ladder and have it when you change the keys, that it changes the keys of the ladder. So if I drag the ladder here, and from the ladder I call for update ladder inputs, so this is where you would normally, so when you enter the ladder, this is where you can sort of put in your own inputs for the ladder. and this will change that. So that's why this is going to be legacy in the future. So we're gonna set our max walk speed, which is 200, and max sprint speed, which was 500. So the capsule half height, so this one is set to 90, and our character capsule is also 90, so we don't need to change that. Let's see. And does it have a spring arm? So our character does have a spring arm, which is this camera boom. So we're gonna keep that checked. Target Z and target Y. This is also going to be outdated. So this used to be to adjust the character to the ladder, but now the new one is the character offset, basically where you have left and right, towards the ladder and from the ladder, and up and down. So this is the character offset that we're gonna use to align the player to the character, right? And we're gonna also set the use IK. So this is a mannequin that doesn't need IK, so I'm gonna uncheck this for him. So keep in mind that character offset and all these can also be used. So if you have multiple characters and every character has its own offset from the ladder, then you can get the ladder and you can set character offset here. So as soon as you enter the ladder, here is where you would set your character offset per character, right? So like if you have different sides of skeleton and stuff like that, then this is what you would need to do. And that's basically it. I can close this off. And let's just try. So we have a sprint, he's walking, we're sprinting. He climbs the ladder. And it's as simple as that. Now if we're above the ground, he jumps up and he jumps up. So we have it covered there as well. If the ladder is angled, he's also going to do a jump animation. Alright, so now let's introduce that IK back. So normally when you're doing IK, you want to go to your project settings and you want to set up some custom logic, because you don't want the IK to be going around random stuff. Usually it's just one collision channel. So I'm gonna add a new trace channel, set it to ignore, and I'm gonna say it's foot IK. I'm gonna click accept, and we can close this off. Now in our control rig here, we're gonna enter here, and there's a section here, foot trace, and over here, if you can see, he's searching for the visibility. So we want to set that to that new trace that we just found, so foot trace. We can close that off now, and we can connect this back. And now, usually you would set up this for your own props, but now I want to select all. I'm just gonna make it quick and dirty. So I'm gonna select all static meshes. Like I said, usually for your own project you would have your own collision queries and stuff. I'm just gonna set this to custom, and foot IK trace, we're gonna set it to block. So it's only gonna block on the static meshes in the level, right? So not on the ladder, not on anything else, so only on this one. And that's the way to do it. And for this, we also need to say when this sort of gets activated. So I'm gonna promote this to a variable. I'm gonna call it foot IK alpha. And in the event graph, we wanna set this up here. So I'm gonna set it. Actually, two of them. So we need a way to turn this off and turn this on based on where we on the ladder or not on the ladder. And the way we do that is if we go to the skeleton, and if you click here on the compatible, you'll see that we have already set up something called stop foot IK. So that's in the montages, that's already set up in the montages. So the only thing we need to do is transfer it to this skeleton. And the way we do that is we just create a new one and call stop foot IK. And that's just gonna place it right where this one is. And we need another one, which is gonna be start foot IK. And now we can uncheck this and you can see that these two are here. So we're gonna save the skeleton. We're gonna go here and we're going to look for that. So start foot IK and anim notify start foot IK. So when we start foot IK, we want it to be 1. Stop foot IK. When we stop, we want it to be 0. Compile save. And just to show you where this is, it's in the animations. Any animation montages, when you open it up, it's gonna have this stop foot IK, and it's also gonna have some notification notifies for IK, so for the hand, feet, and all that. So that's gonna be in the later tutorial when we put in some metahumans or some different type of skeletons, and you need to use the IK, right? So with that said, we can go in and as you can see, the IK is working. When we go to our ladder, it gets deactivated, and when we exit the ladder, it starts working again. So that's how you would set that up as well. And that's it. That's all you need to do. And this is how you set up Advanced Ladder System to your project.